Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's live stream AMA. Today's going to be pretty chill. We're going to just talk about everything that's going on. Obviously, it has been pretty hectic times for Pixels, our community, and also, sorry, my light is also causing a problem. Yeah, Energy Party is on the holiday, the winter carnival map right above here next to the Christmas tree. So you can go find that one. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, just want to like have a fun time, throw anything in the YouTube live chat or the live chat on Twitter. And let's bring up Luke.
Hey everybody. Yeah, no, exciting to have this AMA today. So we told you guys this is going to be a crazy December, right? And I hope you guys think it was also, right? So just let's go over this again. In the last 2 weeks, or no, not even 2 weeks, in the last 8 days, what have we released? We released Guild Wars, or we released Sports, not Guild Wars, my bad. We released a new game in the ecosystem and the Winter Carnival, right? So crazy stuff happening. And it's been insane getting all this out. So yeah, internally, we have a few other things we've been working on, right? We have the chapter 2.5 updates that are still getting worked on and going to come out. If I can give you a concrete release date, it's going to be like early January, basically. So where we're at with all of that is we're basically done with them. Now we got to test them. Chapter 2.5, the updates, they're all going to go together. And it's actually way bigger than we thought. And it's basically going to change the entire meta of the game. So be ready for that one. But basically, yeah, it's going to be really similar to how Chapter 2 changed the gameplay, where basically all the meta inside of the game is going to switch up. Get ready for that. It's going to be kind of hectic when we do that. But there's some reasons behind it, and it should feel better. So expect that in early January. Basically, we're getting all the changes into our testing environments now. And then, yeah, I think this AMA today is also a good time to, one, answer questions, and also kind of talk about what we're going to be working on in 2025 next year too. Some of our strategy, some of the stuff that we're thinking about, and like our approach to product and all of that too. So yeah, maybe we can give a little update on how some of the stuff that we were releasing over the last 2 weeks have gone so far. Like we'll give an update on performance, and then we'll talk about how we're kind of seeing it all go. So I think it's good to maybe go through our normal Northstar Dashboard and kind of show you guys what we're seeing with all the stats. We bring this up like on most AMAs, but let me just share the screen. So over the last 30 days, there's been 10.85 million pixels spent inside of the game. We've seen an uptick in guild fees also. So guild memberships has increased by about like 1 million. There was just about 3 million last month. So there's more pixel locked up in guilds. So overall, like total pixel spent's been up about like 10% month on month from last month, which is great. What we've seen is DAU is going down a little bit. We can give some context onto that. So there is 272,000 daily active users inside of the game right now. We caught a really big bot farm. This is probably the biggest bot farm that we've seen since the beginning of Pixels. They had a ton of accounts, and yeah, they're not very happy about us finding them. I'm probably going to tweet a thread about this soon. Or let me see if I can pull up this screenshot without kind of doxing who it was. But yeah, overall, core metrics of the game are looking pretty good. These metrics have been boosted by a few of the events like Guild Wars and the holiday event. But yeah, we're making even more progress towards play to earn, which is amazing. One of the things we were worried about was as token price increases, we were a little worried that revenue would decrease. It seems like US dollar revenue has been increasing month on month still, and we're in a pretty good spot. So with Guild Wars and with the previous pixel spend, we're at higher pixel spend total this month. That chart I showed you at 10.85 million pixels spent in the last 30 days does not include new guild memberships minted. We have about 1 million on top of that. So yeah, we've been basically moving the like positive direction there. Let's talk about how Pixel Dungeons has gone too. So somebody made a really nice Dune dashboard the other day on Pixel Dungeon stats. What's nice about Pixel Dungeons is all of this data that you're going to see, it's on chain. There's a Dune dashboard even created now that Dune works on Ronin. And this is where some stuff gets really interesting. So we've seen 8,914 players play Pixel Dungeons so far. And this was out of an initially eligible 25,000 people. So we were basically able to activate a good portion of those players able to be activated. Now, what's really interesting is out of the people that played, about 25% of them converted into pixel spenders inside of this game. It's really good. There was 294,000 pixels spent up to today, and 189,000 pixels sent as rewards. And the largest reward that somebody won was 1.1K pixel. So yeah, you can see that there's a good amount of DAU and spenders in the game still, and we're trying to figure out some of the mechanics there. But overall, this has been super successful. I feel like we're gonna have some questions on this stuff, and we're gonna kind of like dive into some of the like thought process here. So yeah, Heidi, do you see any like questions around Guild Wars? I feel like there's gonna be some good stuff to dig into. And then yeah, holiday event so far it's been pretty successful. We've seen pretty good participation in it. The initial boxes, which some of you are frustrated on, minted out really quick. They minted out in like 10, 15 minutes. So it actually has gone much better than expected even. And it seems like we've made progress in a lot of the transparency that we want to do around the holiday event also when it comes to gotchas, all this kind of stuff.
I have a couple questions I want to address really quickly. Okay, I don't know where the energy party is. I pinned it to the top of our live chat, but it is in the carnival. We switch it up occasionally, guys. You got to stay on your toes, read our announcements. It is just above this sign on the carnival map. And okay, a lot of people saying that the Pixel Star ornament is a gambling quest and all of these sorts of things. So I think maybe some people aren't aware that you can complete your tree in other ways, and including the star ornament will be available in the rotating stores. I think it's the red missile token rotating store. It will be available 1 week. So clearly this week it's not available, but it will be available. We do have a spreadsheet that we posted in our announcement with all of the odds and all of the breakdown of all of the stores and all of the presents, gift boxes throughout the entire event. So I would check that out because you don't need to buy a ton of the gotcha boxes to get the store or to get the star if you want to use your missile tokens towards it instead. Now, I know there's a lot of good stuff in that store, so maybe you want to use your missile tokens towards some of the other rare items in that store. That I totally understand, but I did just want to let you guys know about that.
Yeah, maybe I can bring this up and share this sheet. So yeah, in response to feedback from previous events, we were really diligent to make sure that we shared all the information around this event to you guys publicly on what is in any box, what are the odds, and also the other thing to note too is the rotating stores too. So we made all the item quantities public, we made all the odds public, and we made everything that will be coming in these rotating stores public too. Heidi, do you think everybody understands what a rotating store is? Maybe we should show them exactly what it is and like kind of explain it. Can you maybe go in the game and like show them where the store is?
I was going to do here. So if we come up to here, hold on, let me share. Okay, so I'm in game right now, so I'm going to go over to the missile token table. I don't have a lot of missile tokens right now, so don't make fun of me. But here's the red missile token store. So this is a rotating store, and what that means is throughout the event, different items will become available and others will go away. So the consistent one will be the starter stocking and the red gift box will both be available all 3 weeks. But all of these other little things will change. So if you want to get a Pixmas streetlight, you should probably pick that up this week because next week it may or may not be available. So on that spreadsheet that Luke just shared, which we can switch back to if we want to.
Yeah, so that's what we mean by rotating store.
Yeah, let me zoom out so you can see more things. So, so yeah, if you want to spend your missile tokens on some of these items, I would pick them up this week, right? And so on that spreadsheet, it does say that the star from the Pixmas tree is available, I believe in the red store, I believe in this store, 1 week. Now, it is going to be probably a decent amount of missile tokens, so maybe you have to make decisions here. You're not going to be able to get everything, but that's kind of the fun of it. So yeah, just wanted to make everyone aware of that point. And yeah, if you have any questions on how a rotating store works, let me know. But yeah, it's just things coming in and out throughout the event.
Yeah, so again, guys, this is why we like made these spreadsheets transparent and showed you. So to get that Pixmas star, right? It's not the only way is not through these boxes. It's coming through this rotating store, right? It's on these spreadsheets that we announced. We put it in the announcements. We also put it in the main Twitter thread. It's in the intercom on our website. Like all of this information is public, and basically, if you want to know what's coming into the stores and the stuff that you might want to be looking out for, it's in this spreadsheet here, right? So Pixmas Star is one of them. Basically, keep checking the stores, because how these rotating stores work is for a limited time, items will be available in the store. There are two different types of items that might be available in the store, and this is really important. So make sure that you guys know this part. That's what this column is, total supply. So basically, if there's nothing in this total supply column, you're able to buy like as many, not as many as you want, but you're able to buy them without worrying about other people. So Pixmas Star will come into the red rotating store at some point during the event. If you want to get it and buy it through the store, it's going to cost this many missile tokens, right? So make sure that you have enough, and make sure you're checking or like watching Twitter to see when it comes into the store. You're only going to be able to buy one through this store. Now, here's a good example of an item that might come through the rotating store also, but this one is limited across the board. So the metalworking ice sculpture is going to come in through these rotating stores also. And you can see things like the woodworking ice sculpture, and you can see things like the stone shaping ice sculpture too, will be coming in through these rotating stores. Now, this metalworking ice sculpture, there are only going to be 50 of them available. So that means basically if people buy up to 50 of them across every single Pixels player, they're going to get out of the store, right? So this is your chance to kind of like go in and get it early. You're going to have to kind of snipe it if you want it, right? Now, obviously, these are a lot of missile tokens, so it's not going to be so easy to get the amount of tokens that you need. But just note that you're going to have to pay attention to the rotating stores to get these and have the tokens that you need there. And note that if you don't want to get it through the red missile token store, the Pixmas Star, you can also get it through the green and by playing the other games, or through the white store also. And if I understood correctly, Heidi, just that we're on the same page, there's going to be pets coming through store too, yes or no?
So they will be available through the gift boxes. So if we come here, let me share, hold on. Oh, we clicked it at the same time. These red gift box have pet coupons available in them.
And there are several different ways to earn pets still, right?
Yeah.
How do people earn pets moving forward if they missed the first time?
I actually tweeted a really good tweet. Let me pull it up, and it kind of breaks it all down, because someone on Twitter was upset that they missed the first round. So I just wanted to make sure that they knew they still had plenty of opportunities. So
yeah, there's still opportunities to earn pets. Don't worry.
Yes. Okay. One sec. Let me pull up that tweet. Okay, so there are 4 different ways to get your hands on a pet coupon throughout the event. So there were the gotcha boxes, or the Pixel present boxes that came out yesterday. And obviously those have run out now. So now there are 3 more ways. The missile token shops, which are the ones that we were just talking about. So the red gift in the red shop, green gift, and the white gift all have you all have the opportunity to get your hands on 33 per shop. So there's 99 available through the shops. So that one, play the games, get your missile tokens, and then you can either purchase other things, the star, some other cool stuff. The ice sculptures, guys, the ice sculptures I feel like they're not getting as much praise as they deserve, because those are sick. Or you can get your hands potentially on a pet coupon through some of the gift boxes in the stores. The other way here is to finish your Pixmas tree. So once you have fully decorated your Pixmas tree, you get 4 presents under your tree automatically for just completing it. And then those are kind of like a gotcha style box also. You can see once again the breakdown of the rewards that are in those boxes in the spreadsheet, but there are 101 pet coupons up for grabs that way. So play the game, get some ornaments, and you might be able to get one that way. And then we are also doing another present drop. These are different. Some people were really confused. Are these the same presents that we released yesterday? No, they're going to be different. They are different. They will have a lot of overlap though, obviously, But in the final week of the event, there will be another 100 coupons available through those. And we will announce the time that those are dropping because that was some feedback we got from yesterday. So lots of ways to earn pets, penguin pets. They're so cute. So I completely understand why you guys want to get your hands on them.
Yeah. Also, so somebody's saying, I'm just going to bring this up. I thought you guys learned on the Halloween event, nothing changed, no improvement.
Changed.
Yeah, I don't know. I disagree with that. Is all
Disagree with that.
I don't normally like bring up comments like that and say no, I disagree. But the team has put a ton of effort to be really transparent around this event and how it works. I think the one part that we missed on was the Halloween or this event. Basically, like it kind of surprise launched, but it didn't. Right, so we didn't pre-announce the exact time that this Christmas event would launch, and I will recognize that. So these first rounds of boxes went really early, right? But what I'll say is that there's another round of boxes. What we can do is we can basically pre-announce when they're going to come out. We'll give you guys the exact time. That way it's fair too. So yeah, otherwise the improvement concretely from Halloween to this event is we have spreadsheets out here. We made sure that there's a free-to-play route to get every single item in the game and to get a pet, right? Like we want to make sure really carefully that, you know, there's paid ways to do it or ways that, you know, you can like use some pixel to get an advantage, but then also that a free-to-play player spending no pixel also has a chance to get some of the pets, and some of them are set aside specifically for them. So we made sure that we did that change. We've also made these public odds pages available to all of you. We included these in the announcements. And yeah, the team put like a lot of time, effort, and energy to make this happen. So yeah, that also maybe moves into like our next stage on like when we talk about strategy for 2025. So here's
Can I just pull up this message?
Yeah.
Really quick? I agree there's improvement, but I also like that it was kind of a surprise. So we do too. We love to kind of hint at things. Obviously, Luke and I are oversharing on these AMAs every week, but it is really fun to just kind of like drop hints and surprises and events and whatnot without like a ton of pre-warning, right? Because it kind of just keeps things exciting and fun. So an idea that our team had to address this was like, okay, instead of dropping the boxes or the presents right when we launched, maybe we launch the event and then let you guys know that they're coming at a time, kind of like how we're doing the final week one. So let us know if you like that format, because I think that would be the best case scenario.
Somebody said too complicated, won't even bother trying. Thank you. So that's good. Yeah, we kind of want people who want them to have a better chance of getting them basically, and who are like working for them. Now, I will say when it comes to strategy, I do agree though this event is a little complicated. And when we talk about our 2025 strategy, we're going to be making some changes in pixels. Here's another good comment too that I want to bring up because this goes into like exactly what we're thinking also. So they get it and they don't get it at the same time. So this person said, Luke, having some games, Pixel Dungeon, Telegram game may look good for the ecosystem in Pixel. For the gameplay in the main Pixel game, it needs to be updated to be more exciting. So agree on both of those points. And here's kind of the strategy and like how we view it. So the Pixel ecosystem is a really good thing for the ecosystem, right? What we're trying to figure out is we're trying to figure out play to earn. So here's the high level strategy. Basically, we want to figure out what I like to call return on reward spend. Now, if you're going to build a Web 2 game studio, you're focused on one metric called return on ad spend, right? Now, we don't run ads. That's actually crazy. Pixels have grown to this amount of users, like this amount of revenue on $0 of ad spend. That's actually so unheard of in gaming, where we're actually attracting amazing talent to come join us in this mission because that's just so ridiculous. 11 million registered users. I think like year to date, like don't quote me on this, but I think it's going to be something like $40 million in revenue. Maybe it's closer to like 35 right now. So we'll see where that ends up settling. And all on $0 of ad spend. And the metric that we're looking at and trying to optimize right now is called return on reward spend. Basically, when we give out $1 of rewards, how much spend do we get back, right? So currently in the core Pixels game, we are at like about a 0.5 return on reward spend. That means for every 1 pixel, we get 0.5 back. Now, what's really interesting about Pixel Dungeons, and let me bring up this sheet again. Check this out. So Pixel Dungeons gave out 191,000 pixel as rewards, and there was 297,000 pixel spent. That return on reward spend right now is 297 divided by 191, 1.55. That's positive return on reward spend. That's kind of unique for this space. In Web3 gaming, I'm not really sure if it's been done at scale yet. And this is like starting to get there, right? So here's the thinking behind this, right? The more games that we bring into the ecosystem, the more data points that we have on getting to that positive reward spend. And it basically makes everything that we're doing stronger. So the cool part about Pixel Dungeons is it's its own independent team, right? It's not taking resources away from the core Pixels team, but instead they can go out and build these cool game mechanics that our users have been wanting for a really long time without taking away resources from the core team, right? And the interesting thing too is they have like a better return on reward spend than the core Pixels game right now, which is kind of crazy. Now the core Pixels game has its own benefits though, because it's actually much more retentive. Our retention metrics are amazing. Like our day 60 or day 180, they're best in class. Even when you compare the Web 2 games, because the rewards are so appealing, they get people to stay into an ecosystem for a lot longer. And I mean, you guys know this and feel this, right? Like some of you have done your 4th Christmas event with us, starting on this one. That's mind-blowing, right? Like 4 years of Christmas events, insane. And that's kind of the power of some of the Web3 side of things. So we have this user base in the core game, right? Now we can start to experiment with like kind of shifting around some of the reward spend that we have, right? So that's one of the reasons why we shift the reward spend in Guild Wars a little bit. We wanted to start experimenting with like, okay, if we move some rewards from like this area to this area, what does that do? What I'll say is Guild Wars has not been so successful so far on return on reward spend. It's probably been like the lowest thing that we've done in a long time. This Carnival event, that's like very much like great return on reward spend because the reward spends are just NFTs and in-game items. So the core strategy here is basically like, how do we get the data that we need to like expand this data play that we're making around play to earn? What I've been talking to people a lot about lately is, and even in the team, is really Web3 games I don't think should be innovating too much on the monetization or the gameplay side. The real innovation is on the user acquisition side. So one, we can kind of shortcut some of what we're doing in the ecosystem by doing these game acquisitions. We actually just brought on the head of the ecosystem. So they're going to kind of take lead over that. And it's not going to take up too much of my time moving forward. I'll obviously be involved. We're going to have mentorship within the ecosystem project inside of the game. But it gets us closer to figuring out how to crack this play to earn puzzle, basically. The other interesting thing too is we also start to learn more about how our users are responding to rewards, and we have more things and data points to monetize them. So basically there's kind of like 2 ways where this helps the Pixels ecosystem. It strengthens Pixel by having more utility for Pixel right off the bat, right? The better utility for Pixel and the stronger that Pixel is, the more that goes back into the core game loops, the stronger that things like the game economics become, which funnels to land, all of this other stuff. It's really important to make sure that Pixel's strong for these reasons because it makes the game experience better in the core Pixels game. The other thing too is it helps kind of build out our play to earn tech, right? And it helps us learn more about how to do this right, so that we can give even more rewards to the right users. So then the other thing that we need to focus on is Pixel, if I'm being honest, is not really at the quality that we want. And that's the other like concession and thing where you're absolutely right on. And I think it's finally time to fix some of the things that we've been putting off fixing. So 2025, there's going to be a little bit of a shift in focus of what we've been working on, right? So we're going to start working on chapter 3 also. We really like the idea of using chapter 3 as a base to kind of build out connections between ecosystem games. So for example, imagine a game loop in chapter 3 that rewards you pickaxes that you can go and use in Pixel Dungeons. That's pretty cool, right? So that's some of the stuff that we're thinking about when it comes to chapter 3. And then also we're thinking about adding some more game mechanics ourselves too. So when we think about where I'm putting team resources, right? Guild Wars is great. Holiday events are great. But we're still kind of in the early stage, to be honest, where the live ops stuff are important. we're going to simplify our live ops a little bit. The current live ops strategy that we're doing in Pixels with this holiday event, it's really complicated, right? It takes up a lot of team resources. It's kind of confusing to the users. We're going to make them much more simple next time, where it's really clear. I do this thing, I have a chance to get these rewards, and it doesn't need to be so complicated. Same thing with Guild Wars too. Guild Wars got really complicated. It doesn't need to be so complicated. And it's probably better for us to spend some time building out unique features that kind of move the needle when it comes to gameplay experience and the end user experience too. So what that means is basically we need to make the core Pixels game just kind of stack up to the Web 2 games. And that's my biggest thing. I don't want to go to people and be like, oh yeah, this is like the game. It's okay. It's kind of confusing. Sorry, but we're really good at this. Like I want people to be able to see Pixels right away and know, hey, this is a good game. And then we also have the user acquisition tech that's crazy. So there's going to be a bigger focus on first-time user experience in 2025. That's really big. We're basically going to be completely redesigning that. I don't know if you've ever shared Pixels with a friend before, and you have to really take some time to explain how to do it. You're like, oh, no, this is like what you have to do. Oh, sorry, yeah, if you don't know where to go, then this is what you do, right? Like we shouldn't actually have to have you guys do that. It should be way more simple to understand what Pixels is, way easier. And there's going to be a very big effort based on that. So yeah, after these chapter 2.5 updates are done, where we have the core game economy kind of in a better spot, then we can finally move on to these things and the chapter 3 changes too. But yeah, totally agree. Ecosystem is important. Core game is just as important. If you're talking about metrics and where they're at right now, the thing that I've been looking at a lot, which I see as a red flag for where Pixels is, but totally there's room to improve, is our day one retention. So if you're used to evaluating games, you'll know that's like one of the core metrics that you look at inside of the game. It's basically a measure of how many users come back to a game after the first day that they play it. And our day one retention isn't nearly as good as I would want it to be now. The first users that played the game, when we first announced them Ronin, your day one retention was really good, but you guys were like the highest intention users. You guys were Ronin fanatics. You wanted to try out all these Ronin games and you got hooked and loved Pixels. The people that have been coming into the game, several months later that didn't really know what Pixels was at first, their retention's looking a lot worse. So that's where we really need to start to improve this. What's good about Pixels is we've had crazy top of funnel. Let me Yeah, we've had, I can't show this actually, but we've had 44 million users check out like the game client page, right? We converted 44 million users who check out the game client page into like 11 million registered users, into like 7 million active users who've gotten through some actions, into like the DAU that we have now, right? So yeah, there's been some interesting stuff there, but yeah, basically what we need to do is we need to do a better job of converting some of these users who get into the game for the first time into long-time users. And there's a few ways that we can do that. One, it's through making the game better, the initial experience better. And it's also through like really upping the UX when it comes to UX and onboarding. So David, I completely agree with you. Both these things are important, and that's kind of the focus of 2025.
Event still.
Yeah, this is a good point too. Game is rocking, income is rocking, landowners are wrong. Yeah, guys. So again, how I like to view land is I think land is the best reflection of Pixel's game economy, and that's what's been the weakest over the last little bit, right? So these game balance changes that we're making are the most important part of everything that we're doing here. We really think that's going to lead to like more reasons to use land in game. And again, that's how we view things. Like we want people to be using land in game because they think it's useful inside of the game. And right now it's not as useful as it could be, right? So we talked about this a lot. Like it's been a lot of the conversations over the last 2 to 3 months with the users in our game, right? Like it's taken so much longer for us to get these changes out than I wanted to originally. We were a little ambitious. Basically, again, I'll just give it transparency again because we have been having this conversation a lot. There was a lot of stuff that we needed to fix. We're finally wrapping up these changes now. It looks like early January we can get these changes out with chapter 2.5. And it looks like all the chapter 2.5 changes are going to roll out together. So that's things like industry limits. That's things like changing basically every recipe inside of the game. The cooldown times on like interacting with every single industry, and maybe industry durability will go too. I don't know if that one will go in that initial patch, but basically we're adding scarcity to all the land resources. It's going to change the game meta a lot from what you guys are used to, and it's going to be something we have to adjust pretty quickly. Now what we're going to have to is like means to adjust the meta much more quickly also. Like basically our team had to basically go and redo the whole game design. They go and build new spreadsheets, new game economy spreadsheets, all that kind of stuff. It's almost there.
Okay.
Any questions that you saw that were good?
Yeah, there were some. Let me just take a look here again.
I saw some people talking about. Ooh, I need to pull that one up. But yeah,
can you address this already? So you can place up to 2 on your land to get 10%.
Yeah, so the boosts do stack, and believe me, when this new update comes out, they're going to be extremely useful, and we feel like pretty sought after. Boosts are going to be like a pretty big part of the meta moving forward, we think. But yeah, they stack, but you can only do 2 per industry per land.
Okay, and for Pixel Dungeons, when is the rep 3000 requirement for Pixel Dungeons going to be lowered, and what will be lowered too? So I think it's lowered as of today or tomorrow to 2,000.
I think it lowered to 2,000 today.
Yeah, and it will remain at 2,000, maybe permanently, for the free dungeons. The premium dungeons are 0, so you can always pop into those.
We have some comments on tool durability. Yeah, so that was live. Yeah, so there's some tweaking that we're going to need to do here, obviously, but we're pretty excited about getting this out. It's going to change. This alone is going to change game meta a ton.
Oh, it does. Everyone is asking, what do I do when it breaks? Guys, go craft one.
Yeah. So there is a little bit of an issue. Like some people might need to get their other levels up to go make the right ones, but yeah, that's kind of how it should work, right? Yeah, we'll talk if it makes sense to have these be tradable. I think how we've been viewing these changes, and this might be how some of the other chapter 2.5 stuff feels too, is like we're trying to make the game feel a little bit harder. That doesn't mean we want you to earn less. We want you to have to like make some harder decisions to get there, right? It doesn't even mean that we want you to like play more for the same amount of earnings. Like our ideal situation is basically like keep playtime the same, keep earnings the same, and maybe even like get earnings to the right people in better ways this way too, right? So here's one interesting outcome, and we'll just see how this goes, right? The pickaxes and all this not being tradable. It's way harder to bot some of the game now. With this, we definitely broke them all with this change. Like if they go run out of their pickaxes, they don't have any way to basically get the ones that they need. And it's going to be a little bit more obvious on our side too. We see them just like spamming picks that they buy from stores, other things like this too. But yeah, let us know how you guys feel. If it feels really bad, let us know. But also just kind of realize like part of the game should feel like you're having to make important decisions on how you progress through the game in order to unlock the most earnings. It's kind of what we want also.
And I just laughed at this. Get good, guys. Okay. No more bots on my lamb scenes affected. Yeah, so we banned a massive bot farm recently. So
yeah, it was huge. I kind of wanted to talk about this in a long form Twitter thread, but I don't think people understand. And if you're a Web3 game founder, listen to this. And honestly, like if you're looking at projects and trying to evaluate them, listen to this. I don't think people understand how sophisticated some of the cyber attackers have gotten inside of Web3. It's kind of crazy. Basically, cyber attackers at this point, they have unique hardware devices for every account that they have. So they literally go and buy really cheap phones because phones are cheap enough now where it makes sense. And also they kind of cycle through them. They hire real people full-time as a job to go and farm Web3 projects. They have a unique Twitter account and Discord account and a phone number for every single wallet that they have. They have hundreds, sometimes thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of wallets. And they're able to spoof their IP address. They're able to get through any reCAPTCHA or CAPTCHA. And sometimes they're even able to fake KYC. That's what a lot of Web3 is dealing with right now. And it's funny because if a project doesn't think they're botted, then that absolutely means they are, because they haven't even looked into it enough, is what that means. These cyber attackers can even like hook up some of their Twitter accounts to LLMs, right? And we've seen that a little bit too, where you'll see like mass spam on like certain like Twitter posts that are all like similar but slightly different, basically like LLM generated responses. It's nuts, is what I'm trying to say. So the space has gotten quite bad with that. And yeah, a lot of the work we've been doing has been around this. Here's my take on what the solution is. It really is more focused on making sure the earnings go to the right people, even rather than banning bots. And that's what a lot of play to earn tech that we're working on is going to be around. We're probably going to shift up our strategy around bans pretty soon. Bans, I don't like them because there's false positives that get swept up in there a lot of the times. But more so what we should be focused on is like very targeted earnings, right? So we might not know how to like completely know what a bot is early on, right? But we do know one, bots don't have net spend. They're purely extractive. So what we do know is like we can start to build a profile and even a prediction layer on what users actually might be using the pixel token in game through things like participation in events, through your reputation, through participating in things like pixel dungeons. And those are probably the users that we want to start targeting more of the rewards to, right? Because we know they're going to use it, probably not bots. So yeah, that's a lot of the core play to earn tech and like a lot of the like hard problems out there. And also why you're seeing like some of the play to airdrops that are out in the space right now, maybe not performing as well as you would think, even if they have some of the DAU metrics. It's because they're probably more farmed than you think. And there's a lot less prevention that these other teams are doing, is all I'll say.
Okay, I've seen a bunch of comments about the old tickets. They want more from the old tickets. So guys, I've addressed this maybe every single AMA for the past 6 months. The tickets are at a point in the game where they're very unbalanced and kind of like unsustainable. So when we went to the design team, the drawing board of, okay, how can we incorporate these in the game? We recognized that we wanted to do something with them, but we couldn't do anything crazy because, you know, some players have 50 and some have 10,000. And to figure out how to make a balanced gameplay from that distribution is near impossible. So yes, you can get a cookie per day with a handful of your tickets, but some of you guys that have stacks of them, you're unfortunately just not gonna be able to use the stacks immediately. But come back every day because you will get something. And then there were a couple other questions. Oh, I just wanted to highlight this person's crazy. The polar puzzler, I personally find it so hard. Like, I'm usually a pretty good mini game player and I don't think I'm that stupid. This game makes me feel so stupid. I don't know, but anyways, good for you. There was someone that got like 60 or something moves. I don't know. You guys are amazing. Who sold more gifts, Heidi or Luke? So I actually brought this up with our team and they just laughed and no one answered me. So I don't know if we're tracking that data. Also, I accidentally bought like 12 presents from Luke. So we need to at least subtract those because it doesn't count if it's from me, right? Okay. Okay, I've seen a few comments here also about making things more friendly for different time zones, especially Europe. So yes, we will try to do this. It's incredibly hard to figure out a time that works for every time zone, because like Pixel Dungeons launch didn't cater to Asia as well. Guild War times don't cater to Europe as well. Yesterday's launch Europe as well, which is why we're seeing these European comments. We totally hear you. We want to make this work for everyone. It's just very, very hard. So I think a part of it is announcing things so at least when something is coming, if that you would maybe want to participate in. And then the Guild Wars one, we'll be talking to the team about like maybe different mechanics that we can use to make that a little bit easier for everyone.
Okay, yeah, I'm starting some questions right now though. There's some good ones.
Okay, is merchant ships coming before 2025? No, so that one will come in the new year. Obviously, we launched a lot of things in December, so team is now working away at merchant ships and a few other things, and so that one will come in the new year.
Yeah, so it was something that we were like optimistically trying to push before end of year. We have the work done basically on most of the changes that we want in chapter 2.5. I think merchant ships transparently has like a bit more dev work, but it's almost done. It's not dev work actually that is needed. It's designing the tasks. But yeah, here's something I'm thinking about too though. So I think we're probably gonna do task board 2.0 in early Q1 also. I'm basically gonna be like designing it out over the holidays on what that looks like. But this is another point that we're trying to think about too. So right now, here's kind of been a strategy for the last month or two. We're finally in a spot where like game economy is getting fixed. And then some of the like things that we're seeing in the core game when it comes to like return on reward spend are looking a lot better than they were a few months ago, where we can start pushing the growth levers a little bit more, right? The one thing I really want before we push growth levers more is also an updated onboarding flow, right? So here's how you have to think about game growth. You have to think about how much like user acquisition power I'm putting into something, and then all the funnels of how you keep users in too. So if we start pushing growth before the day one retention's improved a little bit, then we're kind of losing some of the like user acquisition power, right? So here's a good example. Say that our day one retention is 10% versus 40%. If I was to spend $1 million on ads, and I knew that for every ad I spent, I got one user, or every ad dollar I spent, I got one user. If our day one retention was 40%, we would get 400,000 users. If it was 25%, we would get 250,000, right? So basically my money is way less effective if our like day one retention is bad. So the bet I have to make basically is like, can we get our day one retention better quickly through some onboarding improvements? And then can I also pair that with some new stuff around growth? So task board 2.0, what I want from it basically is I want it to kind of look like the task board that you have now, but I also want it to include other types of tasks. Things like go refer a new friend and get them into the game and get 100 pixel or something like that, right? Maybe not that much. Or like go make a post on Twitter and get 10 pixel. I want to start incorporating like more K-factor optimization. So K-factor is basically a measure of for every user inside of the game, how many new users do they help bring? So if we can start to boost that, we'll get a lot of growth out of this. This is how we grew and play the airdrop. This is how we grew in like the previous stages. So we'll have some stuff like that coming in too. I want to pair it basically with like game economy, with a new onboarding, and with like this new task board. And that's kind of the idea for like, January, February of the work that we need to do. Okay, I started a bunch of questions too. Here's one I want to bring up with the caveat that I actually can't answer it. But we see these kinds of questions a good amount. So here's how I do stuff. This person said, as token holders, please make Pixel token go up. I trust on both of you. I haven't even brought up a question like this in a very long time because we've always been pretty clear on like what our focus is here at Pixels. But just as a reminder, so we're helping build Pixels Online, Pixels.xyz, right? And our focus is basically to help make play to earn work And the way that we want to do that is by building a great game, building something that people really love, and using the pixel token in it, right? So whenever we get questions about anything that we're building here, that's always going to be the way that we think about things, talk about things, all of that, right? Like our focus is on making as good of a game as possible that uses the pixel token as well as possible, that gets it in front of as many people's eyes as possible, and that people really love. That's the end goal mission statement here, and that's how we have to view things. We just can't answer questions like that. Somebody said the game is for those who love to grind and buy now. Okay, so here's the other thing that we're thinking about a lot too. The risk I see with chapter 2.5, and the thing that I'm nervous about, but also it's something that we have to do, is it might make the early game like a little bit harder again. So if you guys know the first changes that we made in chapter 2.5 with task force changes, it made coins a little bit harder to get in the early stages. This probably won't help that, so I'll say. So the thing that we have to think about after chapter 2.5 is that early user experience too, right? So we don't want a game that only caters towards grinders. We don't want a game that only caters towards whales. Like you need to cater towards all these different types of users. We have to focus on different pieces at once, right? So these chapter 2.5 changes, they're really focused on game economy, making sure that's good, adding scarcity onto land. And then the next set of changes that we're going to be focusing on are the new user experiences, which I just talked about. So that's like the onboarding. So that means like your first 30 days in the game. What does that feel like? How do we keep you inside of the game? Like new task board. So how do we start to incentivize more growth and also give you more opportunities to earn pixel that help the ecosystem that aren't just grinding. So things like referrals, things like making content, all that kind of stuff we want to reward too. If you have any other ideas of things that might help the ecosystem, let us know that too. But yeah, we want to be there for all the different types of players, right? And yeah, current focus right now is kind of like in the core user base, like, the really dedicated like 40, 50,000 users who are going to every event, spending pixel stuff. And then we can start to expand more to that free to play and like wider base of people who are interested in Web3. They want to dip their toes in it, but they're kind of like, they haven't done anything before. That's a lot of your guys' first experience with Web3 pixels, right? And we want to basically open it up to even more people and make it friendlier.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I just love when I see comments like this. Bring old Pixels economy back, please, because a lot of people are talking about Barry when they bring this up. Barry was so broken.
Yeah, I want people to be really careful. Like I
think
is it me or is it you? I feel like it's you.
It's probably me. There we go.
Yeah.
My computer's been freezing a few times a day.
So here's I'm not going to say anything about any other game. What I will say about Barry and what I want to caution you guys around also is like a lot of you were here for Axie and SLP and you saw what can happen with a 2-token economy if it's not like super, super well managed at the beginning, right? So what I will say about Axie right now is Axie they figured out their 2-token economy. SLP is slightly deflationary and there's still AXS that's doing quite well, right? It took Axie, a team of like PhDs in economics, like the biggest brain people in Web3 to figure it out. It's a really, really difficult problem, right? And if 2-token economies don't go well in Web3, they can really hurt some people. That's why we were trying to be really cautious with Barry when that was out and live, right? Like we didn't want a situation of SLP where people like, we're holding Barry with like a certain belief or expectation that just was not going to happen. And if you looked into the math, it was inflating 3% a day. That's nuts. The pixel token inflates like 5 to 6% a month right now, right? Not 3% a day. Any good questions that you're seeing?
Sorry, I was responding to a coworker about a question they had. Sorry. Okay.
There should be reputation for upgrading our spec. I kind of agree. So some of the stuff that we're debating about reputation right now is reputation. It's dynamic, right? It's going to change. It's going to increase. And you have to be okay with that, right? So reputation has a couple different parts to it. Some of it's secret and some of it you're never going to know how it works. I'm sorry, that's just how the system has to work. Some of it we can make like a little bit more clear in how they get it up, right? So I don't think upgrading your spec is a bad idea for reputation incentives. That's all I'll say. We'll talk about that. I personally think most paid actions should probably give you a bit of reputation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I feel like we've talked through so much already today. It's pretty awesome.
I feel like I got really technical and nerdy on this AMA.
It's good. It's good. Good to do it once in a while.
Somebody asked, will the sculptures return in future events or will we only have this supply? So these specific sculptures are only going to be for this event, and that's the supply there. So you can see the supply of the sculptures in the Discord announcement on our patch notes also, and in any official announcement that we made around pixels. So what we're focused on here for this is like cool content. You are really going to want these when the chapter 2.5 update goes live. I promise you guys. It's funny because like I just saw a tweet today, or I saw a post on X yesterday saying, I have no pixel to spend because I'm using all of the pixel dungeons. If you remember back before chapter 1, or not before chapter 1, before chapter 2 in like May and June, there was so much FUD around us because there was not enough to do with pixel. No one's complaining about that. Very opposite thing, right? That's good. We made a lot of progress there. That means now there's a lot of complaining that like resources are too abundant, that there's not any scarcity on resources, that anybody can go to any industry. I promise you it's going to be the same exact feeling in like 2 months on this stuff. We're going to be like, now we need the opposite direction. So these boosts are going to be some of those things that are really necessary for that, right? It's going to decrease the cooldowns. And there might be more boosts coming out. Like we like the idea of like legendary boost, elite boost that are like 10%.
Yeah, so these specific winter themed ice sculpture boosts are unique to this event, but this is a new mechanic that we will continue to implement. So boosts on all different types of things, right? So it's very exciting, the launch of this. That's why I was saying at the beginning, I don't think ice sculptures are getting enough hype. This is incredible. They're so cool. So yeah, I think you're pretty lucky to get your hands on them.
Oh, so somebody actually had a really good question or point that I want to talk about. It's kind of nerdy again. Somebody said this.
Jeez.
That's controversial, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
But let me pull up a chart. Let me see if I can find it. I have a chart, the percent of users earning pixel each day. If I can find this, that would be great. If not, this is deep in, this is one of our niche. Oh, here. This is good. Yeah, so look at this chart, guys. This is interesting, but also I think one of the things that's not going right about pixels right now that I'm starting to question a lot, and this is why I want to do Taskboard 2.0. So here is a chart, and don't get mad at me when I show you this. This is a lot of this. This is some of the key philosophy stuff that we've been talking about here at Pixels. This is a chart of the percent of players earning pixel each day. Now, if you see something that was going really well in February or March, was that about 39%, even 59% of players each day at least earn 1 pixel, which is pretty cool. And then when we released chapter 2, our idea was we want to start to give earnings to higher levels and to people who are like further progressed through the game. Basically, you want to do like progression gating on earnings. So what that did was that basically decreased the amount of people earning pixel each day, but they got more earnings, right? So the idea was we want to basically create like chase content, like reasons to level up inside of the game. Now, I think, and with October being a pretty big low, only 5% of users earn pixel each day, which I would say that's not good. And that might be some of the things that are holding our growth back. And yeah, what we're going to do in Taskboard 2.0, I think, is we're going to completely change the like algorithm on how you get pixel. And instead of being just progression based, a lot of the stuff that we've been doing over the last 3 months or 4 months, it's called user segmentation. I'm getting really nerdy again. I'm sorry. I'm getting really technical. So I'm not sure if everybody's going to understand what we're doing here. But basically, we're going to start to give out rewards more based on data. So it's going to be a combination of progression, but also other stuff that you've been doing inside of the game, right? So if you've been like chatting on Discord and like a great Discord user, and we see that there's like value that you've been doing there, like that might be a segment that we add you to where we can start to give you more earnings. Like basically smart task board is what we want to do too. So we can start to increase that percent up to the type of users we want. And it's not just grind, basically, of how we'll start to do the earnings. It's going to be like a more holistic approach to earnings. So that's the end goal there. My goal is basically increase percent of users earning pixel each day, but also being smart about it. Because yeah, if we go back to this chart, 60% of users earned pixel in March, but how many of those percents were bots? Like probably a large percent. Yes, more unique real players were probably getting it also, but also a lot of it was getting sucked up by bots, if you remember too. So there's a trade-off here too. Now, what's better about this data science approach is we have a lot more points, especially when we connect all these ecosystem games on how users use their pixel, right? So we have a better idea of like if you're a bot, not a bot, through data science, through behavior that we have, through all the first-party data that we have too. When we start to build a better profile. The other cool thing too, and I'm gonna like paint a little bit bigger of a picture with ecosystem, is the same tech that we're building out for pixels is going to be able to work this play to earn like new Taskboard 2.0 with any game in our ecosystem. So actually your new Taskboard 2.0 might even say, hey, go play Pixel Dungeons, like do 2 games and we'll give you 5 pixel, right? It could be some other cool stuff like that also. Go download this app that we released, get 10 pixel. We can also use that as an ecosystem play as well. And this is also tech that other games might want to. What you're going to see is we're going to have more games coming into the ecosystem. You're also going to start to see more people implementing Pixel Login, which is going to be pretty cool. And a future upsell on Pixel Login after people start using it is we might also start to offer some of this earn tech to these games that use Pixel's Login also, and give them their own task board, basically. And we can even send people from their games to our game, maybe do like token swaps, some other stuff like that too. But yeah, there's some cool stuff.
Yeah, and keep in mind, just keep playing and doing what you like to do. It was a game, right? We're a community, we're a game. Just participate in whatever way you like. Okay, we're at the hour, but I think there's 2 different things I want to quickly mention. So first of all, Guild Wars. The name Guild Wars is changing. I believe it will be officially named Spore Sports very, very soon here. So from here on out, we will be calling it Spore Sports on all platforms everywhere. It is a completely new name that we are excited about. I'm not sure if we ever talked about that yet, but yeah, the name is shifting. We're changing it up. Secondly, so we have a really exciting event, which we will announce on our Discord later today for Pixel Dungeons. We are going to be running a streaming tournament. So I believe there are 16 creators that will be streaming, playing Pixel Dungeons between Friday and Saturday this week, and they have their own little rewards pool, so it'll be really fun to see some of your favorite creators go head to head. We will run this event again in the new year, probably like a way bigger version. This time it's only 16 people. I think in the new year we're gonna talk about like see how it plays out and see about doing like a way bigger one with a ton more creators. So yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll put like a link tree to all of their socials and whatnot. It'll be really, really fun to come and hang out with some of your favorite creators. So yeah, we'll see you there. And is there any last minute things you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, people keep asking about the division of Guild Wars. Well, I'll say as we're looking at it, so Guild Wars, here's kind of the plan on this. Yeah, it might make sense for us to basically have like a slight pause in it to reevaluate some things. The division's good idea on paper. There's something not working about in practice, but we have a few ideas here to fix this basically. It's just going to depend on how long of a time it takes for us to do this. So yeah, if we make any changes to the way that Guild Wars is structured, I think what we want to do is give you guys 2 weeks notice. So, keep planning around all that kind of stuff. But if we do decide to take a break, we're gonna give you like some time before to make that decision. And that way we can go and like fix some of the things that we need to do.
Okay, this is another good thing to bring up. I can watch AMA all day with Heidi and Luke getting blown up in Pixel Dungeons. So next week, Wednesday, our regular AMA day is actually Christmas Day. So I think the plan is that I will stream alone and I'm just gonna be playing the games. We're just gonna hang out. It's not really gonna be like AMA, it's more just gonna be like a fun little hangout live stream, play some holiday events, some Pixel Dungeons, and see how it goes. So stay tuned for the announcement on that. Still trying to figure out my personal plans. If I'm being totally honest, it is Christmas Day. So, but yeah, I think that's the plan. So you can tune in and watch me get blown up constantly because I'm sure that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah, maybe before we go to, let me give you guys some insights on like what's going on with Pixel Dungeons 2. So this team is experimenting a lot. And what you're going to start to see with the experimentation is like figuring out things like dungeon size, the time of the dungeons, like how many pickaxes each dungeon should cost, the amount of pixel that's in the free dungeons, like how big the what do they call the legendary ores? Yeah, the legendary ores are too. So yeah, keep checking in like often. Basically, they're gonna make a lot of adjustments there, and what we're gonna do is start getting some more data backing like what's the optimal way to do this as well. And then also like keep giving feedback on it too. Like what do you want to see in the game in the future? Like what would make it more fun? What would make it better? And what's interesting too is like we said, Pixel Dungeon is profitable for the ecosystem. That's crazy. That's like one of the like I think that's one of the biggest pieces of news in Web3 gaming. Like there's a profitable Web3 game live in production right now. That's kind of cracking some of the play to earn side of things. But what's interesting is, we might start to be able to experiment with earnings there too. We've been talking with that team a lot, and one thing they're missing is like some daily mechanics. There might be a way that we can kind of hack together some stuff in Pixels, like login streaks, like daily rewards for checking in, that kind of stuff. So we're probably going to figure out things like that we can add too, and experiment with like some of the earnings shifts too. So yeah, I think that's kind of the update for today. I hope this was
That's
good
it.
for you guys.
Adios a todos. Can't say much more than that. And yeah, we wish you a Merry Pixmas. Very cute. Love this. Go follow Nature Bean on Twitter. They make the most wholesome content. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.